Hello and welcome to Just Hoops. The New York Knicks have been on a tear of late, winning 8 of their last 10 games with a number 2 defensive rating in those last 10 games. They've been playing really well at both sides of the ball, but defensively they're highly connected, playing with great energy, and just overall making it hard for other teams to find success. So this video is going to really dive into that defense and see what has made them so successful at this end of the floor of late. So here are some numbers real quick in terms of defensive rating. They're 9th, but the things that stand out to me are the field goal percentage. So they're holding teams to 45% from the field and 33.7% from 3, which is top 5 in the league. They're holding teams 12th at the rim and 11th from mid-range, just being elite at making shots difficult. And now let's look at the film and see what they do that makes them successful. So first, let's look at the basics of this defense in terms of their shell, positioning, and not as much about how they rotate, but more so about their responsibilities within different areas of the defense and different areas of the floor. So this clip here against Chicago, I want to really look at the help side positioning. So the clip is going to freeze real quick, and we're going to see how the weak side of the floor before the pass, there was 2 guys on the lane line. Strong side, that block was loaded. The paint is the priority, and they always load the box. 2 guys on the weak side load that lane line, and the strong side is typically on the box in a position where you can stunt and recover. Here against the Raptors, you can see that RJ does a great job of that. He's on the block, and he's in a spot where he can stunt at the drive and also get back out to the corner to contest the shot. That's a huge part of their defense below the break, that guys in the corner, your responsibility is to first stunt at that baseline drive and then recover out to the shooters. Above the break, you'll see a lot more denial, a lot more pressure in the gaps, but overall, their goal of that defense in that strong side action is to stunt and prevent drives and then get back out and make shots difficult. Here against Indiana, you're going to see a really good help side clip in terms of the bottom positioning. Both blocks are loaded, and the weak side elbow has RJ there. It's a quick clip, but you can see that they make it a priority to load up the blocks and really make things difficult to get to the rim and make plays in the paint, forcing a lot of tough contested jump shots. Here against the Warriors, we're going to have another clip showing their positioning. You can see that Brunson and RJ are loading that weak side. Randall's at the elbow. RJ's ready to help at the rim, but he gets back out and contests the 3. Just the positioning, the way that they load the paint is very good, and it makes things incredibly difficult for offenses to get good shots at the rim. We'll talk more about their rotations and how they like playing out of their positioning and shell look, but at the end of the day, the thing that I want you to pick up on is how they prioritize the paint. Everybody packs that area of the floor. The blocks are always loaded. There's always somebody there present, preventing or just making drives even more hesitant, but they also are a stay-at-home defense. You only help when necessary. We'll talk about this more as we get into rotations, but they like staying home. The help side, yes, they prevent and blockade the paint, but if they don't have to help, they're going to stay home. The on-ball responsibility is to guard your yard and do a great job there individually to prevent these rotations. We'll dive into more of that later, but in this last clip here, you can see that their positioning is paint first. The weak side lane line is loaded, and then we got Grimes as a low man, ready and active to go in and make a play. Just great interior defense as a team. So now once that shell is broken, they have to rotate. So let's dive into how they rotate and what they do on a team level that makes them so good. So here we're going to have Fred VanVleet getting a drive baseline. We're going to have the low man pull over at the rim with the strong side stunt. And then we're going to have RJ drop. And then it's a full wheel. Everybody's connected, and these first few clips do a really good job at showing that. Here we're going to get a drive by Kobe White. We're going to have Brunson pull over as low, Randall drops, and then he's in a spot where he's zoned up, but RJ comes out and is able to contest the shot. Guys are connected, and they're active, making plays anywhere on the floor. Here, Halliburton's going to get that drive. Low man Mitchell pulls over. We got RJ dropping. Grimes zones up, and he runs over, and then Mitchell, from the initial help, comes out and contests the shot. Highly connected, highly active, just going out there to make a play for their teammates. But as we talked about earlier in the base defense, if you don't have to help, let's not help. Everybody stay home, do your job. The low man, yes, is pretty active on that second drive there by Pat, but they want everyone to stay home. Here against the Raptors is another great example of guys staying home with minimal help. Their stunts, There's just activity in those areas where they're denying now on the pickup, and then Siakam drives and it's a peel off between the 4 and 5. We'll talk about that next. But guys are staying home, denying their areas, and then getting out and making it easier to contest the shot and run guys off the 3-point line. But at the end of the day, if it isn't the low man who is there, they're just willing and able to make plays for each other. They're going to fly in, just always have that presence in the paint. You can see in these clips here, we're not getting into the nuance yet. That's next. But guys are just willing and able to make plays for each other. On drives, on just plays in general, guys are sinking in, preventing paint touches, forcing turnovers, and making things incredibly difficult in the paint. This last clip here against Chicago, you'll see quickly just makes a play. He's the drop man, but he comes in and forces the turnover, showing their paint first priorities. Now let's get into a little bit of the nuance of this defense and talk about the importance of their big men. This defense is really centered around the abilities of Mitchell, Randall, Hartenstein, and Sims. So now let's dive into the film and see what they do to make their bigs successful defensively. Here against Chicago, I want you to watch Mitchell. He's going to zone up on that low block, be active at the rim as a plug, but look at how they switch off and zone up on that backside. They load that lane line, and regardless of whatever movement or action is happening, they allow Mitchell to determine where he wants to be, being able to shadow the middle of the floor, and at the end of the day, that prevented a drive by Zach LaVine. Now here against Toronto, we're going to watch Hartenstein. He loads the strong side early, being an active low man plug guy, and that's just making things difficult at the rim. Here, Hartenstein isn't the low man, but he's the one sinking off at the rim, being that primary helper and forcing a tough shot by Wiseman. The bigs are the primary help, and the bigs are responsible for everything on the interior. At the end of the day, they won it this way. Randall with the early help, even though his man was at the 45, and it forces almost a turnover and then a highly contested 3 in the corner. And then here against Indiana, we're going to get a good clip of Mitchell, who's at the nail as the primary helper. He's the guy sinking down, making shots difficult, and here getting a block against Tyrese Halliburton. And here against the Warriors, we're going to have Mitchell sink in, stay in the paint. Randall also helps off of his guy who's at the 45. And both of these guys play off of each other, do what they have to do to help each other out. And it's just always having a big physical presence in the paint, putting these guys in position to be successful, make shots difficult, make plays on the defensive end of the floor is what allows this defense to click. And it was a huge adjustment by Tibbs at allowing his bigs to just go out there and make plays defensively. At the end of the day, these bigs are a huge part of their success of late and really do a good job at communicating, playing off of each other, and being highly connected on the interior at just being a defensive force. So to wrap things up, here are my takeaways from New York's defense. It's a paint-first defense where it starts and finishes with their ability to protect and make things difficult down there. Secondly, they like staying home and making kickouts very hard. And lastly, their on-ball defense is what allows the backside to be so successful in denying and also helping with the big men. So if you guys enjoyed this video, I hope you guys enjoy your holidays. For more content like this, please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you in the next one.